Greetings. By virtue of your presence watching this video today, I want you to know that we consider you to be an extended member of our family at Unity in Linwood. We believe that you are an individualized expression of that one creative impetus which stands behind all life, and as such we celebrate the uniqueness which you are, and we celebrate our unity with you. We are glad you're with us.
It is so wonderful to be in your presence again. We do return from Missoula, Montana, or as I like to call it, Eastern Washington. You know, we're relative newcomers to these parts, and that's caused no small amount of issue historically. In our first year, we got a call from a musician who said, I'm in the area, but my equipment was shipped to Portland. And I said, you know what? No problem. That's just Southern Washington. We'll run down and pick it up, which we did. Grab a health and wellness postcard on your way out, please. Our own Nancy Joy offers a recurring monthly Wednesday evening movement experience called The Body is the Temple of the... Well done. And Jerry Kuhn. Jerry, will you wave at these kind folk, please? Jerry is hosting the last of our summer Saturday hikes. Details are on the postcard. We are hosting the 2017 Unity Northwest Region of Unity Churches Conference later this month. What an honor. You are invited. Registration is $215. It includes all events, all meals, even the snacks. You may register online or by completing a registration in the back. And finally, please stop by our spiritual gift shop and meet our artist of the month. Her name is Gloria Pulliam. Will you wave to these kind people? Gloria. Her works include pencil, acrylic, oil, pastels, clay. If you're interested in serving on Unity and Linwood's Board of Trustees, please consider grabbing a job description from the Welcome and Information Station. This is a privilege for those who are formal members in good standing. Thank you in advance for your consideration. Every service has an ambassador. This person's role is to support you in your exploration and discovery of this divine idea we call Unity in Linwood, and that you might have a face to put with her name. Nan Allen will wave to you at this appointed hour. Practical spirituality, welcoming community. What a mission statement. Every week I like to support this with one of the 6 bullet points which we developed in conversation with your Board of Trustees beginning in late 2014. Take a deep breath. See if this is a divine argument which you're willing to make. It reads as follows: we seek to discover and to share spiritual practices which are repeatable and reliable, and to infuse these spiritual practices into every area of daily life. Fair enough? I am now in the presence. I am now in the presence of pure being. And immersed in the Holy Spirit. And immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. And immersed in the Holy Spirit of life, love, and wisdom. I acknowledge your presence and your power. I acknowledge your presence and your power, O blessed Spirit, O blessed Spirit, in your divine wisdom. In your divine wisdom, now erase my mortal limitations. Now erase my mortal limitations, and from your pure substance of love, and from your pure substance of love, bring into manifestation my world. Bring into manifestation my world according to your perfect law. According to your perfect law. The words of Charles Fillmore, the invocation used at the beginning of his teaching. I mean, it's no rabbi, but Rabbi Ted, thank you. What a blessing. What a blessing. I have to tell you, I absolutely love this season. I love the feel of the brisk air. Yes, my Midwestern roots may be showing. I love the sound of the crisp leaves. I love the smell of the burning wood. I love the sight of the breath as it leaves the mouth in the evening. And I love the taste of the season. I love the taste of fall vegetables, of the simmering soups, the baking breads, of the warm drinks, rich cocoas with fine creams with dark coffees with sweet liqueurs, and sweet liqueurs. That's all. I love the taste of the sauces, the bourguignon and the hollandaise and the bechamel. I love the taste of the gravies, the dark gravy, of course, reserved for the beef, and the light gravy for the poultry. And then there's the white gravy. You know the one. It's the king of all gravies to anyone from the Midwest. It's usually reserved for Sunday afternoons while the boys are still in their plaid shorts and the girls are still in their shiny shoes. It's a creamy gravy marked with specks of black pepper and dots of sausage. And when it's correctly consumed, it's delivered on a sizable island of homemade biscuit. White flour, of course, simply brimming with gluten. All precariously poised on a Sunday fork, which, as you know, is not the same as a weekday fork. All precariously poised on a Sunday fork for that perilous journey across that eternal chasm of tablecloth, followed by dining room chair fabric, followed by Sunday finery, on its way to its final destination on the human tongue. It conjures memories of pumpkins and marshmallows, cinnamon, apple cider, stocking caps, high school football games. It conjures memories of family. And if you're like me, it conjures memories of the new school year, a new Dukes of Hazzard Trapper Keeper, wrapped in shiny new plastic and filled with narrow-lined paper, not that wide-lined paper used by those of lesser experience, but narrow-lined paper, reserved for those of some intellectual accomplishment. That Dukes of Hazzard Trapper Keeper, and it just as easily could have been a Fantasy Island Trapper Keeper or a Mork and Mindy Trapper Keeper. There may be even people here today who know who shot J.R. I don't know. It had a pouch with unsharpened number 2 pencils. How thrilling was it to have so many pencils with unused erasers? That little pencil sharpener, a semicircular piece of plastic called a protractor. I can't tell you to this day what exactly a protractor does. And of course, there was the glue stick. Some of us are more fond of the glue stick than others. I don't know. I'll let that be what it is. And then what to wear on that first day. It was an annual conundrum. Would I wear my Charlie's Angels t-shirt with corduroys? Or would I wear my Captain and Tennille t-shirt with corduroys? Everything was so incredibly new, always exciting. I have to tell you, I love this season. I love this season because it joins birthdays and New Year's Day and countless other markers in reminding me on a deep level that I can begin again. Did anyone come here this morning simply to hear that? We could call it quits right now. Maybe my final grade in algebra was less than stellar, but the new school year reminds me that I can begin again. Maybe my closing argument in debate was less than compelling, but the new school year reminds me I can begin again. Maybe my presidential physical fitness results were less than presidential. But the new year reminds me that I can begin again. In truth, neither my friend Chris Franklin nor I could perform a single chin-up, let alone a series of chin-ups. So rather than succumb to the annual dashing of our self-esteem that was Presidential Physical Fitness Week, Chris and I chose to rename each of the exercises, giving each one a new name which bolstered our self-esteem instead. And so it was that in the summer of 1979, chin-ups became known as hang theirs. The high hurdles became known as knockdowns, and so forth and so on. True story. I love this season because it joins with Easter and the first day of spring and countless other markers, and reminding me of an eternal spiritual truth, and that is that I can begin again. You've heard these stories, perhaps. In her mid-30s, she had to ask what a shallot was. The year was 48. She had just moved to France with her new husband. Though she didn't speak French and could prepare only the most rudimentary dishes, she fell in love with the cuisine. She became determined to learn how to create it. And I quote, "To think it has taken me 40 years to find my passion." She once wrote to her sister-in-law, "It took at least 10 more years, numerous rejections before mastering the art of French cooking was published," an accomplishment which eventually led to her long-running PBS program, a beginning for Julia Child at the age of 51. 51. And her best-selling series began with Little House in the Big Woods, which chronicled her pioneering childhood of the late 1800s. NBC, of course, adapted one book into a pilot. Subsequently, a series, we all know the name, Little House on the Prairie, which remains in syndication throughout the United States and abroad. Laura Ingalls Wilder was published for the first time at the age of 64. You see where I'm going with this. After 69 blacks were shot dead by police during the Sharpeville Massacre of '60, he and like-minded members of the African National Congress began a campaign leading to his arrest and conviction in '62. In '80, his friend and lawyer, Oliver Tambo, launched a campaign to free him. It was successful after 10 long years. And in 1994, Nelson Mandela was elected president of South Africa in the first open election in that country's history. My friends, he was 75 years old. President Harry S. Truman, from our neck of the woods, we would say, he once played the piano just for her. New York Governor Nelson Rockefeller declared on her 101st birthday that there was no more renowned artist in the country today. And when she died in '61, then President JFK released a statement noting all Americans mourn her loss. Anna Mary Robertson Moses had no formal art training. Indeed, she had almost no education whatsoever. When a traveling art collector discovered her works, each selling for a few dollars in the local drugstores, well, he bought all of them. Countless nostalgic, colorful scenes of farm life, and he arranged for their display at another shop. Perhaps you've heard of it. It's located in New York City. It's called the Museum of Modern Art. Upon her death, their display extended as far as Vienna and Paris Grandma Moses, as she's still known, began painting at 76 years old. I don't know what you're laughing about. I think I see you in there, right? Okay. I think Dr. Maya Angelou said it best, and I quote, "Most people don't grow up. They find parking places. They honor their credit cards, they get married, they have children, and they call that maturity. But what that is, it's just aging." I know I'm not alone. I was deeply moved by the presentation offered by the Interfaith Amigos last month. How many people were here for that? Wow. I was deeply moved by the call to a deepened commitment, if you will, to the core teachings of our spiritual traditions. For the Muslim, and I do paraphrase, that core being something of a displacement of ego motivation for spiritual motivation. For the Jew, that core being something of an awakening to the awareness of oneness. For the Christian, that core being something of a commitment to unconditional love, one for another. You see, the tension in today's world isn't a tension between spiritual traditions. The tension in today's world is between those who would leverage a tradition as a tool for awakening and those who would leverage a tradition as a weapon for separation. That's the tension. And I was deeply moved by the incredibly courageous call to challenge, maybe even discard all that would stand against these core teachings of our traditions. Why, just imagine how the world would change if normative Christianity alone challenged the teachings, the choices, the activities which stood against unconditional love one for another. Imagine that. Just imagine how conversations about orientation, about race, about gender, about those people over there, and aren't there always those people over there? Just imagine how conversations would change if the call to unconditional love one for another were truly embodied as the core measure of a Christian life. And it gave me pause. It prompted me to ask, what are the core teachings of unity, of this larger umbrella we would call New Thought? And as we approach our 4th anniversary together, and I do hope you will celebrate this 4th anniversary with me on Friday evening, September 15th, with a unity ordination ceremony right here, please grab an invitation from the back. Space is limited. Are we ready to answer the call to a deepened commitment to those core spiritual teachings of our tradition? Are we ready to do that? Are we ready to answer the call to a deepened commitment to the fundamental unity of all life, to the causative power of the Word, to the divine nature of the soul who sits to your left this morning, to the divine nature of the soul who sits to your right this morning? A deepened commitment to that Christ idea, to that eternal prompting of every soul to unfold ever higher potentials of its eternal self. I asked Kathy if she'd have a little fun with me this morning. She said yes. For here's the truth as we understand it to be. You are an individualized expression of genius itself, an individualized expression of the same mind used by Debussy, used by Mozart, by Monet, by Emerson, by Jesus himself. Everything you need for the fulfillment of your soul's work has already been provided. God withholds nothing from God's creation. You stand before the endless cosmic buffet of possibility by virtue of your sheer presence here this morning.
That was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are a chord in life's symphony. We are the silent awakening.
You are not the carbon and atoms that you tote around between the dates on your birth certificate and the dates on your death certificate. You are not defined by the color of your skin, by the gender you have assumed, or by the years you spend in physical form. You are a grand soul here to unfold something of the divine seed which resides within you.
That was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are a chord in life's symphony. We are the silent awakening.
So no matter your final grade in algebra, no matter your closing argument and debate, no matter your presidential physical fitness results, no matter what happened last week, no matter what happened last month, no matter your genetics, no matter your circumstances, no matter your history, you are fundamentally and inalienably free because you are soul, wholly without limit and completely beyond harm.
That was only a dream of a dream. This world is not what it seems. We are the wind that carries the seeds. We are the roots of the banyan tree. We are love offered on the wing that stretches across eternity. We are a chord in life's symphony. We are the silent awakening. And only love can lift the veil away. I have traveled long and far just to come home to your grave.
Just breathe that in.
Thanks again for joining us. Please visit unityinlinwood.org for a preview of all upcoming classes, services, and events, and for an opportunity to make a gift to our community should you so choose. Thank you.